love the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris.
I'm Russ.
And this is episode 280.
280 guys back in the virtual nerd basement. Thank
another
you
10,
for
another
joining
10
us.
episodes down.
10 exactly. Thanks for joining us in the virtual basement, guys. It is a swelteringly, record-breakingly hot day here in the Detroit area. It got back up into the upper 90s, which is still pretty hot for this time of year. Hey, Renee. But it is good to be.
Yeah, dude, I think
back.
it was still like 95 degrees when I came in here to do the show.
Yeah, I mean,
it's fucking ridiculous. Let's see. What's it say? Yeah, 95 is what Google's telling me right now.
Absolutely incredible. It was like Stella had it set at 76 in here, and I went and I was like, man, it's weird. Because unfortunately my house, when it gets this hot, it's still struggling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I looked at the temperature on the thing, it still said 79 in here, and so it's just fighting and fighting. So I I raised the temperature up a bit so that maybe the AC unit would stop fighting so hard. And, you know, like, look, get it to 78. Let's get it to 78 here, maybe 80. 80 still feels comfortable when it's 96 outside.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing. So I was sitting here today working because I'm working from home, and I'm sitting in my office and I'm like, I'm right here at the desk, and I'm like, damn, I'm just really getting really warm. I'm like, did they already interrupt the air conditioning? Because we got that interruptible power for the air conditioning thing, where where DTE can cut it off if they need more power. And so I went and looked, and I'm like, oh no, the temp is just set to 83 because my smart thermometer is still set for when I didn't work at home in the summer. So that at like 8 o'clock in the morning, it would jump up to 83 degrees and then go back down in the evening. So I changed that shit.
For sure. Change that shit right away.
Like, I was okay right up until it got to 80 because I got a ceiling fan in here and everything. So it's not bad as long as I'm underneath the fan or if I'm in the basement. I mean, that's the big thing is with the living room being in the basement. I spend a lot of time down there, and I'll come upstairs and be like, oh my God, you know, 78, 79 degrees upstairs. It feels like I just walked into a sauna.
Exactly. That's the way it is at work sometimes too. Like I'll go into the offices up front, which are comfortably air conditioned, and then there's this hallway that's in between the offices and the outside studio area, and it's like a walk-in freezer. I mean, it's like it just for some reason the AC just collects in this one hallway, and I'm like, can we just open these doors here and maybe, you know, but
share the love.
You just I go into the office for a few minutes to do, you know, to get whatever to do things, and then I'll come back out and I'm like, it's like I just stepped into a sauna. This is absolutely ridiculous. Tomorrow is supposed to be also quite warm, but not quite as much as this.
Yeah, only like 94 tomorrow.
Yeah, so. 90. Yeah, I heard like 92. I'm like, fantastic, great, fans.
Hey, CD.
Hey, CD. So, 98 and smoking. So, unfortunately, I mean, CD over in Wisconsin, there getting the same stuff we're getting just earlier.
Yep.
So super duper hot, yeah, but because we of course are a couple of old guys that have to talk about the weather before we.
Yeah, but we're not gonna spend a lot of time on it tonight because.
No, thank God.
How was your week?
How was your week? My week.
You had a more exciting week than me, really.
It was a little all over the place. I did a performance. I performed as a character at Canterbury Village on Saturday and Sunday. We had a Pirates and Princesses weekend, and so I've been doing. Those of you guys who watch the show have probably heard me talk about these shows at Canterbury Village, these events at Canterbury Village. Mainly like the Halloween and Christmas ones that I was working. I played Oliver Ogre, not this past Halloween, but the Halloween before. I did a lot of work there. And last year I only did it like maybe once or twice because I just couldn't squeak in the time. And then Christmas the year before I played Buddy the Elf. So, but last year they started a mini Ren Fair, basically a medieval stroll, and they got me to play Oliver Ogre again, and it was a lot of fun. And then I did it again for this other event, the Made in Michigan event, and playing Oliver is so much fun for me. And so the guy Will Kelly, who does a lot of the booking, he for the Ren Fair type people, the actual actors. He asked me, he goes, "Hey, we got Pirates and Princesses coming up." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, right on." He's like, "Do you have a pirate character?" And I'm like, "No, but I can make one." So I created Marcus Kent, the pirate prince. And I was just, he's a pirate that was trying
a gentleman
pirate. Well, I created the character. And then Our Flag Means Death came out, and I was like, shit, okay, I got to tweak this guy a little bit. And I'm like, so instead, he wasn't ineffectual, because I was going to make him a complete dandy and kind of an idiot and whatnot. Instead,
so pretty much like the main guy on.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to make him like Steed, and then I'm like, well, I can't copy this character. So instead, Marcus Kent was an effective pirate, but he wanted to be a privateer instead. He was trying to change over to being a privateer because he was tired of being kind of just being kind of a mean guy. He was naturally, kind of fell into the piracy, and because he was like, I wrote him up to be like a bastard of a royal person, and so he ran off and became a pirate, and then he kind of got tired of being a pirate, so he's like, perhaps I could get some of my respectability back if I become a privateer. So it was a lot of fun. It was really
blimey.
Of course, shut up. There was a lot of silly shit though, because these events are really sweet, they're really fun, but at the same time, and Will is doing his best to put together like a really nice miniature Ren Fair, basically, or very small Ren Fair, and that's what the medieval fair.
It's probably still better than Murph, so
times, yeah. And the medieval fair is very much like that. It's this small Renaissance festival at Canterbury Village. We've got jousting, we've got some of the acts from festival. He's been pulling in acts from other fairs. Wakefire will be there performing, some other groups performing. It's really very, very cool. In fact, we're doing 2 weekends next month, July the 16th and 17th. And let me see, it is the 16th and 17th, and then the 23rd and 24th of July. So if you guys want to come out, it's a good time.
I might be able to make one of those.
Much more affordable than Michigan Ren Fair too. And just a really, cool day. But anyway, so they're
unfortunately really Renee works on the weekends, so
yeah, they're really trying to expand into these, and pick up more events, do more things, and bring more business in. And it's been really successful. But the funny thing is, the people that own and run the Canterbury Village itself will also book talent or book entertainment, and sometimes it's a little off-brand from like a Renaissance festival. One thing was that the monster truck that was in the parking lot doing giving rides to people, and another thing was the wrestling event in the back, where they had a big wrestling ring, a squared circle, and they had these guys wrestling, and like one dude he was wearing a Miles Morales Spider-Man outfit and was wrestling in this Spider-Man outfit. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? But we also had like a Cinderella's carriage being pulled by two huge Percheron horses around, and people could pay to get a little ride around, and so the little princesses, the little girls could just be like, "Eee, I'm in a carriage and stuff," and so it was really sweet. But I had a lot of fun, and I got to perform with some of my friends from festival, and but I'm really looking forward to the medieval stroll in a couple of weeks. Oh, excuse me. And it was a lot of fun. Other than that, it was just kind of business as usual, and kind of just work. And I did take a few days off, because last Wednesday was so hot. Again, it was another one of these 98, 99 degree days. We decided to call off the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually took the rest of the week off because my boss was kind of like, "Hey, this is going to be your last gasp to get a decent amount of time off before we really get into heavy production." So I took Thursday and Friday off. So I had a nice long break, and but yeah, pretty nice little break there. And now we're back at it. Last week, a bunch of my friends from work were also at the Lakes of Fire event at Lucky Lake Campground out on the other over north of Muskegon or whatever. It was it's a Burning Man adjacent or Burning Man associated event, and it was apparently pretty cool. I've had a lot of friends go, and almost everybody I've seen that posted about it has been like, this was a life-changing event. And that's what I hear people talk about Burning Man, about that if you go to Burning Man, or if you go to a Burning Man event, like what's called a burn, it can very much be a very life-changing kind of event, depending on, I guess, what you do there. So pretty cool. That was my week for the most part. What was your week look like?
My week was pretty typical. Work, and that was about it. Yeah, not really a whole lot going on. Went and saw Flogging Molly, which I'm wearing my new Flogging Molly t-shirt tonight.
Chris went and saw Flogging Molly, everybody. What a surprise.
What a surprise.
This is my shocked face. Can someone please get me a blanket? I think I'm in shock.
But yeah, it was great. It was a great show. It was actually at Meadowbrook, which is one of the only places I can think of that I had not seen them play. Renee and I were talking about it, and we're like, it was an early date of ours, was going to see Flogging Molly, and we have not missed a show since we've been together. And this, we were guessing, because they play a lot of times twice a year here, since this is one of their homes here in Detroit. Which is funny, Dave King was pretty much telling everyone where they live on stage last night, and Bridget actually said something to him. He's like, "What? No, I'm not gonna stop. She told me to stop telling you everybody where we live." But anyway, we were guessing it's probably 14 or more times that we've seen them together. They were fantastic. They've got a new album coming out in September that they played like 3 of the songs on, one of which they've already released. It's on Spotify. Absolutely fantastic. That was probably the best of the 3, but all 3 of them were good. I'm looking forward to the new album. I always like their stuff. I listen to them a lot in the summer when I'm out grilling. I'll just have Flogging Molly playing while I'm getting food ready and while I'm outside. So that was the highlight of my week.
Well, all right. It is also, today is or yesterday, actually, was it yesterday or today? No, today
is
the first day of summer. Yes, we are on the solstice, so good.
Happy midsummer to anyone that celebrates.
Exactly, and happy solstice, and to you and to all the other people. Do yourself a favor, and at some point when you're mentally capable and prepared, watch the movie Midsummer, or Midsommar, as it is more looks like the way it's spelled. It is an excellent horror film, but it will fuck your brain up 6 ways from Sunday.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like my kind of film.
Fucking crazy creepy and awesome. Well, the thing about it is it's kind of one of those horror films that you're like, oh, this could totally fucking happen. This is not, this isn't, Freddy reaching out to you from your dreams. This is shit. This could fucking happen. And it is awesome. Florence Pugh is in it, and
Okay.
she's a genius. So you haven't seen it?
No.
It's so fucking good. We watched it, Stella and I watched it last year, in late summer actually. And it was so goddamn
2019 film.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Is it streaming anywhere? No, it's not. Oh, it's on Hulu. Premium subscription, so.
It's on, you could, or maybe on HBO or something like that.
No, it's not on HBO. It looks like it's just on Hulu, Roku. Oh, looks like on Amazon Prime. You can get it with a premium subscription. So
yeah, it's on Prime. So, and that's how we watched it.
Okay, cool. Will Poulter.
Yeah, Will Poulter is in it, who is going to be in the new Guardians movie. He's playing
Adam Warlock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a beer that I got on Manager Special at Kroger. And it's by Oddside Ales. It is a little bit of an old beer. It was packaged in January. So it's about 6 months old, 5 months old. Not horrible for this because it's a red. It is Paddy's Red, Irish Red Ale. That's the can right there, which shows up really nicely on the feed tonight because, well, it's not a glossy label. It's a matte label, which doesn't reflect. It says underneath the Irish Red Ale, it says, everyone knows if you capture a leprechaun, you get 3 wishes. And then it says Paddy's Red, a medium-bodied copper-colored ale, balanced malty sweetness, displaying notes of toffee and caramel with a slightly dry finish. 6% ABV. It is a very coppery color. Little hazy, not horrible, but it smells like a red. I will give it that. It's got the red aromas, and I can get some of the toffee and some of the caramely notes and the nose. I'm gonna take another sip here. It's like a lot of or several reds that I've had, in that it is kind of sweet. And you missed it, CD. It's right there. It's Paddy's Red, Outside Ales. It's or if you missed this, it's the coppery color. It is kind of sweet. It does have a lot of that the flavors that you'd expect in a red. It's pretty much a typical red. It's I'm gonna say it's nothing fancy, nothing crazy. It is tasty. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. It is quite tasty, and for the discounted price, it's pretty good. Because I really do enjoy reds. This one's a little sweeter than I normally like, but it's not bad. So yeah, Paddy's Red by Outside Ales.
Awesome.
I have a feeling, I think it's one they put out every year right around St. Patrick's Day. What about you?
I am drinking something new from Angry Orchard, and Angry Orchard being kind of the name and the biggest name in cider these days.
Mass-produced cider, yeah.
Yeah, well, mass-produced. It's not a craft cider, but I mean, people, you're not always going to be able to find J.K. Scrumpies at a bar, but you sure as shit can usually find Angry Orchard. And this one is tropical Angry Orchard. It is with notes of pineapple and passion fruit. I gotta say, it's pretty tasty, but it's really sweet, Chris. Probably one of the sweetest ciders I've had from these guys. It's like drinking fruit cocktail, the juice from fruit cocktail.
Okay.
That's that initial flavor,
Mm-hmm.
and then the back, as it kind of moves along your tongue, it gets a little tartar from the cider. I'd imagine, and maybe the passion fruit too. It's really good, but it's also like if you're not into sweet, this might be a little much for you. Yeah, it's pretty darn good, but once again, very sweet.
And yeah, and by the way, I say mass produced because it is mass produced, but
Correct.
It's not like it's AB InBev that it's doing it. It's Boston Beer Company. It's Sam Adams that owns them. So
Yeah.
It's not like they're something like Bud Light in a can. I actually like Angry Orchard. I like a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the products from Angry Orchard are pretty awesome. Are pretty great. There's been a few that I've like better than others, but for the most part, it's a good product. They put out a pretty solid product. So.
Yeah. So CD says he's got the Kentucky Peanut Butter Stout. It's his third favorite peanut butter beer that he's found. It's awesome. Cool. I'm guessing that's the same people that put out the Kentucky Stout or Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Stout and Kentucky Ale, Bourbon Barrel Ale, which I don't like. Renee's got a martini going.
Oh, there you go.
I almost drank bourbon tonight. I was drinking it last night on the show, and I actually almost continued drinking it tonight because it is so good.
Yes, we did have
the Dragon's Milk bourbon.
We did have Tavern Talk last night. I did, and we will be having a Tavern Nights game session this Friday, although I will be arriving late because I have another body paint gig, and it's actually a body paint gig that's supposed to lead into another gig later.
Yeah, Pixar, it didn't happen, man.
I'm painting a dude this time.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be. I mean, maybe our female listeners would want to see it. Like, Wings Kook, what do you think? You want me to show off some pictures? I mean, I don't know what this guy. I haven't met this model. I have no idea. So we'll see.
She said Pixar didn't happen.
Wait, did she just say dicks or it didn't happen?
No, Pix or it didn't happen.
Next Monday too is the big fireworks party at downtown. It's the week before the 4th of July.
Oh, Diddy.
And I
said, oh, Diddy.
Yeah, it's be prepared. The Freedom Festival that and big fireworks display that happens on the Detroit River every year. We've been away for 2 years, and the parade company sponsors this display, and it's one of the most extravagant fireworks displays in the country. So it's pretty cool, and it's a pretty fun event.
It's good, but time. I gotta say, dude, I didn't think it was gonna happen when I first heard about it, but Thunder over Louisville's better.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I don't know. I mean, for me, I'm like, fireworks, okay, cool, pretty. Yeah. But I'm not like ooh and nod and wild vibe.
Yeah. It's just for me, this next week means that I am in the basement every evening
with the dogs.
With the dogs.
Yeah.
Trying to keep them as calm as possible because
right. Poor Dresden does not like fireworks either. And
Oh, so dude, Trevor goes outside and he's like you kind of coax him out and he looks really nervous in the evenings now. And you coax him out, he gets on the grass, he goes to start peeing, there's one boom and he's like, nope, fuck this, and he turns around and goes back in the house.
Yep. Dresden is just absolutely horrified by that. It's just something about that noise, man. He doesn't freak out by other loud noises, but it's something about fireworks or like, I don't know, maybe it's just the gunpowder or what, but there's something about that particular noise that just freaks him out.
Well, that's part of it. It's the pop, the explosions, but it's also that smell in the air, I'm sure. I mean, their noses are so acute.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's we do not look forward to when that time of year rolls around for him.
Yep. Speaking of that time of year coming around, right after 4th of July, so like 2.5 weeks now, is Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes, yes.
Which, of course, it
Oh
comes
my
out on a
God.
gaming night,
Of course.
as it always does. So might have
I
to
tell
see
you,
about going and seeing it on Thursday.
all of the reviews, all of the initial reviews that I've been hearing and seeing is that it is absolutely wonderful. That it is a joy to behold, and it is going to be fantastic. And I hear also it's going to have some heavy moments, but will probably be a little bit of a breath of fresh air compared to the previous, compared to Multiverse of Madness, because it was just the multiverse being pretty heavy.
Yeah.
We have, speaking of Multiverse of Madness, that will be coming to Disney Plus tomorrow. So if those of you guys who have not seen it and have Disney Plus, you can catch the latest Marvel movie, Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness, starting tomorrow. And
it's
it'll
not
be
Morgan Kanan Presents The Multiverse of Madness?
It is not Morgan Kanan Presents. Although there are some similarities.
Yeah, there are.
It is also coming to Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, the whole thing on July 26th. I was finally able to find it. It finally came up on Amazon. So
yeah, it's usually about a month after it hits Disney now,
is
when it comes out.
Yeah, exactamundo. So looking forward to I am looking forward to seeing it again, because I'd only seen it the once at the theater, and
yeah,
it was really fucking good. So
so yeah, we'll have to talk though, see if we can actually arrange to actually go and see a movie we'll go see Thor together on Thursday night.
It's been a while, man. It's been a while since we've seen a movie together.
Yeah.
When's the last one?
Pre-pandemic.
Easily.
Yeah.
It was easily pre-pandemic.
It wasn't episode 9, was it? That long ago?
It might have been. It might have been episode 9. It's been quite a while.
Renee says she thinks it was.
Yeah.
It has definitely been a while. But so we'll see if we work that out.
Yeah.
I got nothing going on that Thursday, so.
I don't know, but I can check. So.
It was pre-Nerds with Alcohol. No, it wasn't. It was not pre-Nerds with Alcohol, because we posted on Instagram.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so.
But it may have been pre-stream Nerds.
It might have been pre-streaming Nerds, yeah. Before we
I think
Twitch
that's
streamed.
what she means.
Yeah. So, couple of things. I just finished watching Schitt's Creek earlier, just like about an hour and a half ago. Stella and I finished watching the Canadian sitcom, and it was amazing. The sitcom itself is easily probably David. I think Schitt's Creek is one of those shows that's going to go down in history as like a perfect show, a perfect kind of show. It was extremely funny. It was really very heartfelt. There was
actually character growth, which you don't see a lot in a sitcom.
Yeah, exactly. You start off with these characters they're just not very good people. I mean, they're rich kinds of pieces of shit. Like maybe Johnny is the only one that you can appreciate, because he came from modest means and worked his way up and built his empire.
He's still kind of a douche,
but he's still a bit of a douche, because he's still coming from, he just lost $500 million. He just was a multimillionaire, and he's like, but he's got these 2 kids that are just kind of complete dipshits, and his crazy actress wife. And but as the show continues, they really grow, and you grow to love these characters and all of the kooky side characters that are in the little town of Schitt's Creek. And one of the cool things too about it is they're kind of kooky and weird, but they're not so weird that they're like, that person definitely doesn't exist. It's just, they're a little odd, but not completely, just like Twyla, who runs works at the diner,
owns the diner.
Actually, she owns it at the end of the show. We find out
she was the owner the whole time.
No, that's what I thought too. But we find out at the end of this, like the second to last episode, that she actually decides to buy the diner.
Oh.
It's
been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, so have you seen it all the way to the end?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So yeah, she reveals to Alexis that she had won a bunch of money in the lottery, but she just worked at the diner because she liked it.
And Renee said no, she works there.
Yeah, and then she decides, because Alexis tells her you should spend some of that money on things that make you happy. So she decides to buy the diner, and because it makes her happy. And so it was, but God, I tell you, I mean, the final episode basically was David and Patrick's wedding, and it was such a great ending. It was really sweet, and it was also to end this really successful show with these characters that have become LGBTQ icons, and to have them. It's one of those things that also just kind of reminds me how far entertainment and television has progressed over the last 20, 30, 40 years, since we were kids watching Three's Company and MASH, I mean, watching shows like this that happen. I mean, it's not the David and his relationship, the fact that they were a gay relationship wasn't the biggest and the only part of the show, but it was a major part of the show. And
in the later seasons, yeah.
In the particular later seasons, right. And in the last two, pretty much 2 or 3, it was definitely a bigger part of the show. And it was just, that was definitely not something we'd see when we were kids, and to see that grow and see that happen, and it's been really great.
And seeing Alexis's growth,
right?
I mean,
Alexis's growth, and see, like, at the end of the show, she ends up, because this show's, I'm not gonna worry about spoiling shit, guys. The show's been over for 2 years now. It's actually been more than 4, because I think they filmed the final season in 2018. The fact that Alexis's character doesn't end up with a guy or a girl or whatever, she doesn't end the show with a relationship, because that is what makes you complete, apparently. That doesn't have to be the case. She ends the show a stronger person, a more capable person, a better person. And the thing is too, although the show ran 6 seasons, it actually only takes place over 3 years. So for all 4 of these people to have grown that much in their experiences in a period of 3 years is also saying something. That growth can happen even to a family of unbelievably rich people that have to rebuild their lives. So guys, Schitt's Creek, really, really fantastic show. You really guys got to check it out. It's on Netflix. The whole series is on Netflix, and there is a wrap-up show that they do at the end, and it's just really fantastic. I'm one of the better shows I've watched in a long time. In fact,
I did not watch the wrap-up show.
Okay, it's just interviews, and how.
Honestly, one of my favorite parts of that show was David and Stevie's relationship.
Absolutely, I loved Stevie. Honestly, I mean, the supporting characters, the characters that weren't the family members, were some of my favorites, like Ronnie, and Twyla. I mean, they were great. I know you're not a big Chris Elliott fan.
No, I hated Chris Elliott.
I gotta admit that Roland, the mayor of Schitt's Creek, his character did get on my nerves a bit, but even he grew.
His character and
I loved his wife. His wife
was amazing.
Was amazing.
The old mechanic guy, he got on my nerves too.
Bob, yeah.
Yeah, Bob.
I will say it was funny though, the way, if you ever noticed the way Bob walked or ran, he almost always trotted into the room.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if that was a choice by the actor himself, but he always kind of he had this really kind of hey, this is how my character's always gonna walk. And it was just like, it's such a weird choice, but it really worked, you know. But Bob became really pathetic at the end because his wife left him and he was just a complete shambles. But yeah, there were times when Roland shit was just like, I just wanted to like, I wanted to reach into the TV and pull his fucking wig off and stomp on the ground. You know, Chris Elliott's obviously wearing a really bad wig. So yeah, but speaking of that show and speaking about LGBTQ representation, and I know it's a little weird that a couple of cisgender middle-aged Gen Xers are talking about this, but I think it's still really important to recognize it and to see like some of these things that are happening in television and stuff and in movies and shit. I saw in the most recent episode of Strange New Worlds, we saw a really great new character was introduced, a Captain Angel, and she was a pirate.
But she was originally Dr. Aspen.
She comes on board the Enterprise pretending to be a former Federation counselor that like left the Federation to work in this area of space that they were in, and that she was telling them that a bunch of colonists or something that needed help, and so they were being harassed by these space pirates. And watching the episode, we find out that, you know, spoilers, guys, but we find out that Dr. Aspen is actually Captain Angel, which is actually the captain of this pirate vessel. And I was like, Stella was watching it with me too. She doesn't tend to watch Star Trek, but she happened to be watching it too. And we were like, wow, this actress is really really hot. You know, she's really leaning into this femme fatale character. And I mean, it was almost a cliche. It was almost like this stereotype, like she's sitting in the captain's chair reclining with her leg up, and she's wearing this slinky black, you know, space suit, essentially, kind of very, very 7 of 9-ish, you know. And
Renee made the comment that she feels really bad because she doesn't know what a French fry tastes like.
Yeah, for sure, right? Extremely, very thin, but athletic, you know. I mean, she obviously had some muscle tone, but she's really, really skinny. And but I was like, wow, this is really she's almost rocking a little androgyny with it too, but it really works. And like my housemate John was watching with it too, and we were all about it. And it turns out this actress, Jessie James Keitel, is a trans actress and is getting a lot of notoriety as an LGBTQ actor. And I think that it's just fantastic because I believe she's a trans actress, and she was playing a female character, and it wasn't an issue. It wasn't a thing. It was nothing. She was just playing this character.
Well, she uses she, her pronouns, but she is also non-binary. So correct.
And yeah, that was the other thing too. We looked her up, and at first I was like, I think she's, not sure, and then. So I was like, oh yeah, she's trans. I was like, oh, fucking cool. And it just goes to show, like, Star Trek on the leading edge of representation and a cultural advancement in television. And I love that.
Like what we were talking about earlier, and Renee and I have talked about this quite a bit with watching Discovery and stuff, is the normalization of any type of relationship.
Exactly.
That Star Trek has done.
I absolutely love it.
Stamets and Hugh. Their relationship is just normal.
It's just normal. It's just a relationship. It's two guys that love each other.
And it's an amazing relationship too. It's
supportive, and it survived some real tough shit.
Yeah,
you know, because they thought because Culber had died, and then but he didn't, and
then you've got Gray and Adira,
right,
as well. Right. So I mean, and those are just normal relationships.
Yeah,
no one questions them. No one.
Yeah, and in a similar sense, they did a similar thing on the Orville. You know? And
Renee said in the show they don't even call it a gay relationship; they just call it a relationship.
It's just a relationship, and I think that is amazing and it's awesome. And I'm so glad that some of my favorite shows ever have been the ones that have led the charge on that. If you guys remember, the original series had the first interracial kiss on television.
Yep.
Between Lieutenant Uhura and Captain Kirk. And I'm just like, I mean, they led the charge for social progress. And which makes sense because it was in the future. It takes place in the future when all of this bullshit that we feel like we have to identify, you know, and have to remark upon and stuff. And that doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't have to happen anymore. And I think it's amazing and fucking fantastic. Guys, check out Strange New Worlds. We've talked about it. It's one of the best shows on TV. One of the best Star Treks.
The other thing
the ending?
Well, the other thing where they basically reintroduced Sybok.
That's what I was gonna say. Holy shit! Like
he's only been in one other thing.
My housemate John was like, "You're gonna flip out at the end," and I go, "What do you mean? Just watch." And we'll watch it now. If you guys remember, in Star Trek V, the fifth movie, directed by.
If you didn't see it, you didn't miss anything.
You didn't miss a whole lot. It was one of the odd-numbered films, which is considered one of the quote-unquote bad Star Trek.
It is considered the worst Star Trek film of all time.
The fifth one is considered the worst one. Now, I still recommend seeing it because it'll help you to appreciate the other ones.
I will never see it. I have never seen it. I will never see it.
Oh, man. Why does God need a starship? Yeah. And that's the joke. In Star Trek V, God needs a Star Trek.
Sybok is searching. Sybok is searching for God at the center of the universe.
Right, and that's basically it. We find out that Spock has a half brother in this movie. Like I said, it was directed by William Shatner, and we find out in the movie that
he's
Spock
also one of the writers.
Brother. Yes, he is. But Spock has a half brother who is full Vulcan. Now, Sybok, his brother Sybok, had rejected the teachings of Vulcan. The teachings of I can't remember the Vulcan philosopher that created their logic, but he rejected the teachings of logic and instead laughed and had emotions and felt things and whatever. And that's the thing. Vulcans don't not feel things. They just are very rigid in control of their emotions. And Sybok was searching for basically paradise at a planet in the center of the galaxy. And they go to Shakari, as they call it.
Tropicolata.
Yeah, there you go. Shakari, which is the like heaven, paradise. And he has an ability that he is able to tap into your greatest pain and forces you to confront your greatest pain and overcome it. And in so doing, he kind of gains control over these people, and he gathers like his followers together, and they end up hijacking the Enterprise, and they fly out to this planet and they meet this energy being that apparently is supposed to be God. And he's like, "You'll bring your ship closer to me and we will go to space." And that's when, of course, Captain Kirk, who doesn't buy all this bullshit, and he's like, "Why does God need a starship?" And you're just like, "Oh my God, it's not great." Now, thankfully, they followed it up with Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, which is the last of the Star Trek movies featuring just the original cast, and is considered one of the best Star Trek films.
I enjoyed that.
Undiscovered Country is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
Well, and that's the thing. 2, 4, and 6 are fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's what they always say. The odd numbered ones are the ones that they're not the best. I mean, one was okay, but it dragged in a lot of places.
It dragged in a lot of places, and then the whole V'ger thing
the V'ger thing was kind of third. The third one was Search for Spock.
It was boring.
It was a little boring, but it was also the movie that fully introduced us to the version of the Klingons.
Yeah,
the more modern version. Well, with Doc Brown.
Yeah, Doc Brown as the lead Klingon.
He was amazing. And he chewed scenery like you wouldn't believe. He was incredible. And John Larroquette too. He played one of the Klingons in that movie.
Did he?
Yeah. I mean, there was some really great stuff.
It's another one. I've only seen it once. I've never wanted to go back and watch it again.
Oh, you should. That Search for Spock, out of the odd numbers, that one was fairly solid. And the thing is, the number 4, which was directed by Leonard Nimoy, The Voyage Home, or Star Trek Save the Whales is also considered one of the, it leads right into that movie and it's considered one of the better ones. And in fact, honestly, one of the best ones, because a lot of people loved it because it was a much lighter film. And after such a heavy film of Search for Spock,
computer, you need to use the mouse.
Computer.
I said throw it up. Computer.
A keyboard.
How quaint.
How quaint. Gotta love Star Trek movies. Anyway, so like I said, they were introduced to a character we had no idea, we never knew, Spock never talked about Sybok, but we see Sybok in this film. Now, at the end of the latest episode of Stranger Worlds, Spock, that's the thing, Captain Angel was trying to get the Vulcans to release a prisoner, someone that they were trying to rehabilitate. They have prisons. They have rehabilitation centers. And Spock was, I think I know who she's trying to release. I think it was like another name for my brother, Sybok. And I lost my shit because I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe they're going there. It blew my fucking mind. It was holy shit, right? But Sybok. Who knows? I mean, fucking cool. Maybe this will be great, you know?
Renee's still on Star Trek 4. Dialysis? What is this, the Dark Ages?
The doctor give me a pill and heal my kidney.
Yeah, I got a new kidney. And
they're looking at the charts. It's completely healed, you know? Oh my God. We are searching for the nuclear vessels.
Where do you keep your nuclear vessels?
I don't know. I think in Alameda. That was all improv. When they're on the street and they're just walking around, asking for directions to where they keep the nuclear vessels, it's completely improv.
At the height of the Cold War.
At the height of the Cold War,
we're gonna send the Russian guy, the Russian guy, to go look for the nuclear vessels.
Break up. You look like a cadet review. You know, I just. So many great lines in that movie. So much fun.
Double dumbass on you.
A double dumbass on you. You know, the funny thing is in Star Trek 6, because Star Trek 4, guys in Star Trek 4, they travel back to modern day Earth. And at one point they're on a bus and this punk, literal punk, like punk guy. He's playing this, he's got this big fucking
boombox,
ghetto blaster, boombox. And it's playing this really loud fucking punk music. And it's disturbing everybody on the bus and they can't hear. And finally, Kirk asks him to turn off the damn noise, turn down that damn noise. And he, and turns it up. And so he just looks at Spock and Spock reaches over to him and, nerve pinches him. And the guy passes out. In the second season of Picard, they travel back in time.
Oh, see, I haven't watched any of Picard yet, season 2 yet.
In modern day Earth, and Raffi, and this really isn't a spoiler, but it's kind of a cool thing. Raffi and Seven are on a bus, and a similar thing happens. And there's this punk guy playing music really loud, and she looks over at him and demands he turn it down, and he's got. Okay, I just really like this song. And it's the same guy. It's the same actor. They got the same guy back to reprise that.
Well, the guy that did that in the original one actually was the performer of that song.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's fucking cool. But yeah, they got the guy back and he didn't like flip him off. He just okay. I was like, fucking great. Loved it. We got totally derailed.
Yeah, we did.
Guys, check out Stranger Worlds. We've talked about it a lot. It's a fantastic show.
Yeah.
And I know you said it's your favorite Star Trek.
It is.
I will say I will not go that far yet, but it is way up there. Really fantastic.
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but we did have another day of hearings today for the January 6th insurrection.
Yeah.
Speaking of Star Trek, insurrection. Today focused very much on Trump and his associates trying to get the officials in specifically Arizona and Georgia to find him the damn votes. But it was interesting to watch. And then they also had the woman on. It was a woman and her mother who were poll workers in Georgia, and they were the ones that were two of the people that were on tape. That when Trump made the allegations of, well, actually it was Giuliani that originally made them, I think. But when his campaign made the allegations that they were pulling suitcases full of ballots out and running them through multiple times when nobody else was there, type of thing, was she was one of the ones that was identified, and Giuliani actually called her and her mother out by name in a tweet and pretty much ruined their fucking lives.
Right.
Now, I think Giuliani is one of the biggest pieces of shit walking on two legs.
Oh, he's absolutely a huge piece of shit.
But this woman was talking about that basically she quit working at the polls. She has been afraid for her life. Her mother, who was a entrepreneur, a businesswoman, had her own business, small business, has pretty much also lost almost everything because of this. They were talking about being taken out of their homes the day on January 5th and basically saying, we have to move you someplace safe. And that and they're like, well, when can we go back to our house? And they're like, probably not until at least the inauguration, which was like 3 weeks from then, or 2 weeks. But yeah, talking about what happened to them, and the one woman was talking about getting a phone call while she was in hiding, basically, after January 6th, getting a phone call from her grandmother, who she said was her everything. She's like, this woman was my everything. She was my idol. I never saw her upset. I never saw her cry. And she called and was basically screaming her name over the phone repeatedly and saying that there were people in her house looking for her. And basically her grandmother, someone knocked on her door. She opened the door, and it was a group of people that forced their way in, said, where is this woman? We know she's here. And they started searching her house. They're like, we're here to make a citizen's arrest. They were basically terrorizing a 70-something-year-old woman.
Yeah. It was fucking awful. Just what they were doing to these people. Absolutely horrifying, and it all came down to just Giuliani, just these people that were convinced that the election had been stolen from them with zero evidence, man.
And that's what they keep saying is whenever they were asked, anyone in Trump's camp was asked to produce evidence, they said, do you have evidence of this? Yes. Okay. Can you give it to me? Yes, I'll get it to you. And they could never produce it. And then at one point, Giuliani made the comment of, we've got a lot of theories, we just don't have the evidence.
Then you have Bumpkiss.
Yeah, you got nothing.
You got nothing, buddy.
You got stories. That's all you got.
Screaming piece of crap. And the funny thing is, and the wild thing is now, is that the crazies are coming out of the woodwork again to support Donald Trump and to support, I mean, the conspiracy theories are growing again. They're saying, like, people are saying, like, well, there's no way Ivanka would betray her father, would turn on her father. This has got to be a part of his plan. Like, that Donald told her to lie on the stand, lie at the hearing, because it's all part of his plan to make America great again. And things like that. It's just, it's insanity.
This is showing exactly how much we need to put money into mental health in America.
Now, speaking of, thankfully, not to derail, but I did read that there has been an agreed upon bipartisan legislature that is being introduced to Congress, and it is likely to pass because, I mean, there's a bunch of things, but there are a bunch of people saying it's likely to pass. It is bipartisan to readjust gun control in this country.
Yeah, but it's not doing much, really. I read the
what I said is that it would put billions more money into mental health.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. And it's not banning the assault rifles. It's not taking away like the clips that they talk about and things like that. But it'll make it easier for the cops to take guns away from, I think, from the people they need to take them away from, or something like that. I can't remember. I wish I had it in front of me and I could read it. But and it would pump like millions and millions of more dollars into mental health care and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, well, that's a start. That's a pretty good, I mean, anytime the two sides can come together to do something like this, I think one of the Republican senators from Texas is leading the charge on this. So that's awesome. That's fucking amazing. Yeah, so
and in other mental health news, the insanity that is the Ezra Miller saga continues. There has been another protection order placed against Ezra Miller by parents of a 12-year-old girl that supposedly Ezra Miller had been I think threatening, basically.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, the insanity continues to grow. This is in Massachusetts, and I guess it happened it stemmed from something that happened in February, and it finally just got finalized, which tells you something else in that if it truly took that long, that's another problem with our system, is that if it takes 4 months to get a protection order, that something's broken. Because 4 months is a long time if you need protection from someone.
Yeah, fucking A right, man. I'll tell you, talking about mental health, Ezra Miller, somebody needs to tie that guy down and like feed him a bunch of fucking like brain pills or something. I mean, this guy is losing his shit. I mean, I'm of course being facetious, but like, good Lord, can't somebody like pull him aside and at least talk to him and say, dude, you are tanking your career?
Oh, his career is done at this point,
for sure.
I think.
For sure.
But they have removed their Instagram account now.
Yes. Yeah.
And Instagram says, no, we didn't do that. So it was done by Ezra.
Yeah, Ezra Miller took their Instagram down, and due to all of the bullshit that all of the, just all the attention, the negative attention they were receiving and everything, but rightfully so. But I mean, this person has, see, we were talking about this last week, and it is a little bit of a sticky kind of thing. The other person that they pretty much ran off with is an adult and can make their own decisions. But at the same time, their family and everybody that cares about them is very worried that they've been, compromised somehow. And then it comes out that Ezra, now that somebody, a family is taking out a protection order against them because of their interactions with a 12-year-old.
Which is how old Dakota was.
Was when they met.
They met.
Right.
And when Ezra supposedly started his whole basically grooming of Dakota.
Exactly. I think somebody, this is one of those situations where, the government, basically somebody at the government needs to step in and fix this situation, or at least, like I said, step in and take control of the situation, not necessarily fix it, but take control, get Ezra Miller to stop and let them talk and let them try and work all this shit out. And in all honesty, possibly bring him up on charges, because this shit is ugly and scary and weird, and it's fucking with my Flash movie. It's terrible. I'm a terrible person. No, I mean, it is. I'm betting that the Flash movie will still be shown. But Ezra Miller's career, particularly with Warner Brothers, if it continues on, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked.
Oh, they've already said that they're dropping them as Flash.
Mm-hmm.
That there will be no more Flash movies with Ezra Miller.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So, but I don't want to dwell on that. We're at an hour, and I want to try and keep this under 2 hours this week, unlike last week. So, we can move on to Ms. Marvel's episode 2.
Oh my god, so good.
Oh, so we get away from some of the animation from the last one. There's still a little bit, but not quite as much. But what we do get is a dance scene. Or a dance number, like a musical number right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of her learning her powers and what she can do, and try and finding some weird things out too, like the whole visions thing that she keeps seeing.
Yep. I mean, I loved seeing we had a training montage as well, where she's learning her powers and learning how to utilize her powers. I thought that was pretty cool. We're seeing
where Brian's helping her.
Mm-hmm. Brian.
He knows my name's not Brian.
It was cute, the whole little like date that she had with the guy and everything, and how he like dropped his English accent and did this Pakistani accent
to her brother. That was hilarious.
Yeah, for her brother. And he's all like, and she goes, "Yeah, this is our cousin," and he's just like, "What?" You know, like, I really am loving. Again, I mean, I'm all about the representation these days, and I'm loving how there's a lot of this amazing representation of the Pakistani culture, Pakistani American culture, and all these great examples of it. I liked their showing them at the mosque, and how her friend wants to run for basically a seat on the mosque council.
Yeah, she's like 16, 17 years old, and she's running for the council at the mosque. I'm like,
and on top of it too, women are in the Muslim community. There's a very defined line as to the roles of women and men and stuff like that. So for her to do that, she's really looking to change things.
And that was a much more traditional mosque than the one I've been to. Right. I've only been to one mosque, and there is still the separation of men in the front and women in the back, but there wasn't that divider at the one I was at that they had there. I think that's much more traditional.
Yeah, it was interesting also to note that he called it like a lecture and not a sermon.
Yeah,
the religious leaders,
and they're all aunties and uncles.
Right. That's a cultural thing too. Yeah, it's like they all have. Was it the Illuminati?
Yeah, the Illuminati.
That was hilarious. I liked it. How they had like
the names that they had for all the different groups. I thought was hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really great. I was going to bring that up. It's really funny. So yeah, and how she more or less guilted Kamala's dad into like voting for her.
Oh yeah, against his best friend.
Yeah, but Kamala is my best friend. And man, so funny.
So I mean, a vote. We gotta keep things moving progressively, and you don't want your daughter and basically your other daughter to grow up in a world that they can do anything, and
it's fucking great. I loved how and then too, like, but then we also have like just cultural shit from like Jersey, like how her parents were huge Bon Jovi fans.
Oh yeah,
that cracked me the fuck up. Bon Jovi was the first concert I ever went to when I was a kid, and you and I went to a Bon Jovi concert a few years ago.
Yep.
And I was just like, because you got like free tickets, and I was like, why the fuck not? And it was a great time.
That was almost 10 years ago, by the way.
Fuck you.
It was when Renee and I had just started dating.
Oh man.
It was 6 months into it, so it would have been about 9 years ago. this time of year, because it was this time of year, because she was up north with her parents.
Holy shit. Wow. All right. Yeah. And we had a great time.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
Yeah, the Jay Giles band opened.
Jay Giles.
I remember us talking that we were gonna sneak backstage and roll Bon Jovi so that you could get his Captain America jacket.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because he had a jacket with like the shield on the back.
Yeah.
The shield, the Captain America shield.
Because it wasn't gonna fit me.
No, not at all.
I don't know that it would fit you. He's not a big guy.
No. But it was funny, like, yeah, and so I was watching it, and they're like, and she's like, oh, well, if it wasn't for the Slippery When Wet album, your father and I might never have met. I'm just like, fuck, that is some funny shit. But the thing is
so that's disgusting.
Yeah, the funny thing is Bon Jovi is to Jersey what, Bob Seger and Ted Nugent and Kid Rock is to Detroit.
Springsteen's also that to New Jersey.
Springsteen, yes, you're correct. Springsteen obviously came before Bon Jovi, so it's almost like Springsteen is to Nugent what Bon Jovi is to Kid Rock, maybe.
I think Springsteen's more Seeger.
Okay, Springsteen and Seeger. You're correct. And Bon Jovi, although Kid Rock came later, Bon Jovi it would have been like that. So it's just like, it was so cool. And then of course we do see her save the little boy, but she fucks it up.
Yep. And he breaks his ankle, it looks like.
She fucks it up because she loses focus. And
because of that vision.
Because of that vision, right. Which is because she keeps seeing like what is probably visions of her great grandmother, who she got that, where that bracelet that she's wearing came from. So and then she runs away because
everyone keeps telling her that she doesn't need to know anything about her great grandma. It's like she calls her Nani, and that it wasn't just her Nani too. It was all the aunties who knew the story about what happened. And it's when India and Pakistan split.
Right.
Partition. The partition.
Right. When India split into Pakistan and whatever. I wish I knew. I actually said that I'm ashamed that I don't know enough about this history.
The first I actually heard of that was in the first Jodie Whittaker Doctor Who episode, because they go back to the partition.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because they basically, England pulled out of India and left the country a fucking mess.
Oh yeah, they did.
And so although it was really cool. Also, they mention Kumail Nanjiani's character in Eternals, when Kamala and the one guy she's on the date with, when they're talking about Bollywood movies, they actually bring up the King, or Kingu, who was Kumail Nanjiani's character in Eternals. And I was like, hey, that's a cool callback. I mean, I personally liked Eternals. I thought it was really cool.
I didn't care for it.
But I do know that a lot of that, out of the Marvel movies, it was probably one of the lesser, like say least appreciated ones. But Kumail Nanjiani was great in it. I mean, his performance was fucking fantastic. It
was India and Pakistan became two self-governing independent dominions.
Okay. So I thought that was really cool too. I mean, how they talk about every family has a partition story and about how terrible it was, and then Kamala, like I said, she screws up.
I'm sorry. It actually today is the Republic of India. It was the Dominion of Pakistan is the Islamic Republic of Pakistan and the People's Republic of Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, that's what it was.
So Renee was right. She said Bangladesh, and they mentioned that in the show.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's the thing, I couldn't remember it. But then but I thought it was just really cool. And then of course we see, like I said, she saves the kid and she's trying to get him down, and they're all like, oh yeah, it's great. And then she loses focus, loses control, and then the kid bing bang bong, and lands on a car. Thankfully he's not killed or anything, but he's still pretty hurt. So she pieces
They hear him
the fuck
yelling
out.
about his ankle.
Yeah. And she pieces the fuck out, and a car picks her up, and it's the guy driving the car, because it's this fancy, pretty nice car, and she looks in the seat behind her, and there is the woman who is apparently her great grandmother, who hasn't aged, and who disappeared, decades ago.
Oh, is that who
And
that is?
I think that's who it was.
That.
Because she was like, I've been looking forward to meeting you, and I'm pretty sure that was the woman from her visions.
Well, and the guy says I want you to meet my mom.
Yeah. So, I mean, if that's the case, he really is her cousin. or
well, he'd be
great niece or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
So, yikes, I don't know. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, to seeing the new episode and seeing where they're going to go.
It really is an entertaining show. I wasn't sure what to expect from it. I thought it was going to be kind of goofy, and I wasn't really going to enjoy it, but I'm actually enjoying the show. I like it.
Yeah. And we're only 2 episodes in now. Unfortunately, it's still from what I understand, it's still got like a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, and the fans are, and the audiences are really liking it. But it is one of the lesser watched shows so far on Disney Plus. But there's also, it's getting review bombed by all these people, by honestly just some racist people that don't fucking understand how great this character is.
The Christians against Ms. Marvel or something like that.
Whatever the fuck it is. And that Facebook group has changed its name for every movie, and has gone up against the movie, each and every one of the movies. Fucking terrible.
But yeah, it is actually a cute show. I mean, it's not. It is just mind candy. It is not anything deep or anything like that. It's just an entertaining show, and I agree with you. I like seeing the representation of another culture. I hope it's accurate. I have no idea, but I have a feeling that that they are doing something pretty accurate.
The directors and writers are all of the same, like, Middle Eastern or Indian descent of these characters. So I also loved. I'd say it probably is pretty accurate.
I love the food truck guy when the one girl's like trying to get his vote, and he's like, "You want my vote? Make me the exclusive food for
exclusive Euro person."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at these guys. They're not.
And she's like, just put this up, would you? I'm really enjoying it. And it was, funny kind of seeing, poor Bruno, he's definitely, like, he's pining for Kamala a bit. We're seeing that. And Stella was like, "Oh, poor guy." And I'm like, she said has it.
He's in the friend zone, man.
Stella thought he would make a really good Peter Parker. And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." She goes, "He's kind of a nerdy Peter Parker." And I go, "Well, that's like, kind of, that's an oxymoron. I mean, Peter Parker is nerdy,
But he is a techie guy, and in this one we find out he's got early admission to Caltech.
And right, so which means he'd have to go to California, and that kind of, obviously gives him pause. And I liked how the guidance counselor was like, "Have you ever seen a movie?" He's like, "Yeah. This is that part in the movie.
Have a seat."
Yeah.
Are you sitting down?
Yeah. So we should probably move on. What about?
You want to do Obi-Wan?
Yeah, we should probably talk about Obi-Wan.
And then we'll see how much time we got left.
Yeah.
So
talk about Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan episode 5. So we've only got one more episode after this one.
Tomorrow.
And in this one, it picks up right where the last one left off, with Obi-Wan leaving and being tracked by Leia's little droid. And because third sister basically put a tracker on it. So we find out that they went to this planet. I don't remember the name of the planet now off the top of my head. But anyway, they go to this planet. There's a whole bunch of refugees there that they're trying to get out. And the guy basically says, "We need to get them out of here. We'll take you wherever you want as soon as we get them out." and then they realize that the Empire is actually tracking them and knows that they're on their way, because Third Sister basically goes to Vader and says, "Hey, we know where they are, blah blah blah," and Vader's like, "All right, let's go." And basically they start going there, and before they're even close, he's like, "Lock them in." He's like, "Well, that'll give us away." He's like, "Doesn't matter." So she has the robot go in and basically lock the doors, the little droid, and they land.
So they can't lift off.
Basically. Yeah, they can't lift off. They lock basically the hangar doors where they're hiding, and they know that the Empire is coming, so they run through and build up a bunch of barricades. They put stuff over the doors, bolt all the doors shut, and then set themselves up to defend, because he basically said, Obi-Wan kind of goes back into that leadership role and basically says, look, if we fight them, we're going to lose. But if we barricade everything in, we can buy enough time to get everyone out, or at least most of the people out. And so they start working on that, and the stormtroopers show up. Third Sister, who has actually been made the Grand Inquisitor by Vader for tracking Obi-Wan down. She shows up, has him start blasting the door. Kenobi says, let me go talk to her. I'll buy you some time. In the meantime, Leia's gonna crawl up into the vents to try and figure out why the doors are locked. And so Obi-Wan goes to the door and he's talking with her through the door. And as he's talking with her, he realizes, wait a minute. You knew who Anakin was. Vader would have hidden that. There's no way. You're too young to have known him.
Yeah.
And this is where I have an issue, because they also say he realizes you were a youngling. And she basically says that she was there the night that Anakin came in and killed all the younglings, and she played dead and used the bodies of the other younglings to hide her and felt them grow cold and all this.
Yeah, that was some heavy stuff, man.
They show her in there, and she is an older youngling.
Yeah, probably one of the older students for sure.
But the thing is that I never would have guessed her to be that young. I put her in her late 20s. She's about 26, I think, the actress. I looked it up, so she might be 28. But she would have to be like 20 in the show.
Well, they're saying this is about 10 years. 10 years, yeah, exactly.
Right. So she'd be like, she's like 19 or 20.
Yeah, thereabouts, maybe. And she's really young.
And I don't buy her as that young. No offense to the actress, but I'm sorry, she just doesn't have that look of being that youthful. Okay. So that was hard for me to buy. But okay, so she was a youngling, and actually she wants Vader dead.
Yeah, like this is her entire plan. Essentially, has been doing this shit to get close to Vader.
Yep. She's
done horrible things to get close to Vader.
Yep. Yeah. So she then says that you can't help me, because he's like, let me work with you. She's like, you want him dead? And she's like, no, I can do this on my own. And she basically takes her lightsaber and just goes zip like fucking butter through the thing. Like, and even Renee was like, why the fuck didn't she just do that in the first place?
Do that right away. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I'm like, well, maybe the blast weakened the door so she could get her saber in there. But I mean, it was like fucking butter. And then she opens the doors, and then Ben hits her with a blast of force that forces her back halfway through the stormtroopers, and she basically tells them to attack, and there's a big fight.
Lots of fighting.
What's that?
Lots of fighting.
Yeah, lots of fighting.
Lots of dragging stormtroopers away, and
and Ben using his lightsaber to kill stormtroopers, and people getting shot, and stormtroopers getting shot. And then as they're pulling back, what's her name? The one that helped him escape. the chick from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones and stuff. Yeah.
She gets shot in the stomach and falls, and the loader droid is still fighting, and then winds up like covering her. And
it's actually really touching.
It kind of was, and she like puts her head to his, and the droid shuts down because the one thing stormtroopers can hit is a fucking droid.
Yeah.
I guess they can hit the broadside of a droid. But then she like says, get out, and she holds up a thermal detonator.
Yeah, holy fuck balls. Yeah.
And he's like, no, and she shoots the door to shut him in.
Yeah.
And she blows herself and a bunch of other people up.
And a lot of stormtroopers up.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And those, you guys got to remember, those stormtroopers are not clones anymore. I did really like the little touches of like, in the I think it was the first or second episode when you see Obi-Wan on that planet, and you see one of the former storm or clone troopers, and it's Tamara Morrison, and he's he's got his hair's all grown out, he's got a beard, and he's begging for credits, and he's homeless or whatever, and former clone trooper.
Yep.
I thought that was a pretty cool touch.
So then basically Obi-Wan says, you know what, I'm gonna buy you time. And he hands his lightsaber, his blaster, and the little recording that we had seen earlier of Bail Organa basically saying, hey, I don't know what's going on. If Vader knows about the children, then I need to get to Tatooine because Owen's going to need help with the boy. And I'm like, okay, first of all, that's a dumb fucking message to send.
Yeah, fucking A, right.
And two, it's dumb of Ben to just hand this over to somebody.
For real,
I'm like, here, have this very incriminating thing that the savior of the universe, or the not really, well, Anakin was supposed to be the chosen one, but yeah, just, you're hiding this kid for 10 years. Oh, here's the coordinates to exactly where he is. But anyway, so he hands him all that stuff to what's his name?
Kumail Nanjiani's character.
Yeah. And says basically get her to Alderaan. Take care of her. And he goes and basically gives himself up. And they put him in cuffs. She talks with him. He tries convincing her that they can work together and take him out. And she's like, nope. I don't need you. And he's on his way, and you're going to die very soon. And she basically says, take him away. And they take him back in, which I also thought was fucking stupid. 2 stormtroopers take him back inside, and they shut the doors.
Yeah.
And of course he fucking escapes. And,
duh. Yeah.
And gets one of the stormtroopers' guns and shoots them both. And so he gets back to the rebels, basically. Vader shows up. Leia finds her droid, and it like attacks her, and she grabs it and finds a restraining bolt on it, pulls it up. It's like, oh, a restraining bolt. Oh, that's better. Like there was nothing.
Exactly.
Fixes the doors. They all start getting in the ship. Vader comes marching through much faster. That was one of the things. Vader was walking a lot faster than Vader ever walks.
Yeah.
Vader's never in a hurry. He's like a serial killer villain. He's like Jason. He just walks.
I see. The thing is at this point, this is Obi-Wan. He's mad, man. He is fucking mad. And this is a Darth Vader that's only been active for 10 years. He's a scary guy, and he's the right hand of the Emperor. He's the scariest motherfucker in the Empire, but he's still only been doing this for a little while. The kids are only 9 or 10 years old, and he's finally, this is the closest he's come to finding Obi-Wan in the last 10 years, and he's pissed and he's reckless. and I mean,
Which we saw some of that earlier on too, when they go
Mhm.
back and do a scene of the two of them sparring.
right, which was awesome.
Yeah, which from before Anakin loses his arm.
Right, exactly.
So it was early on, and he basically tells him, "Your need to prove yourself will be your undoing, and until you get over that, you'll always be a Padawan."
Right.
So Vader goes marching through. They open up the doors, and of course, Obi-Wan's not there, so he just keeps marching through the whole base. Gets to where the ship is taking off, reaches out and grabs the fucking ship.
Oh my God! Right, that was
I'm like,
fucking
okay,
amazing.
Vader's strong. I don't know that he's strong enough to hold a ship in place.
Yeah, a ship that was lifting off. I mean, John was like, he made a joke about it, kind of like did the whole, well, Star Killer in the Last Jedi in the Force Awakens, and or Force Unleashed grabbed a Star Destroyer and drifted out of the sky with the power of the Force and the Jedi, and I'm like, okay, all right, smartass, but I mean, that's the thing. In the shows, we're seeing Vader do some of the nastiest shit we've ever seen him do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he not only pulls that ship down out of the sky,
he slams it on the ground.
Slams it on the ground and rips it open like a fucking tin can, dude.
3 times. Rips chunks out.
And I'm just like, fuck, shit, fuck, and then, but then you see, that it was a decoy.
Yeah, and the ship behind it goes, so gone.
And obviously, and I'm like, well, why couldn't he do it again? And I'm thinking, well, maybe he was a little drained, I mean, it's something like that had to have taken a lot out of it.
Yeah.
But he was still tough enough to fucking,
Well, yeah, and then third sister comes up and it's like, now's my chance. Sister. And she goes to swing and he just and stops her lightsaber with his hand. Dude, with the Force. And he's like, did you really think that I didn't know? And basically, she's attacking him. He never pulls his lightsaber. No, he's just like zip, 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 zoop, zoop, zoop. Boom.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was like watching a master fencer, like basically just toy with somebody who was a decent sword fighter, but still doesn't compare to hit.
Oh yeah, you could see the difference in ability.
Right.
She might be strong in the Force, and she was using her anger, but she still was. He was on an exponential level higher.
Doesn't hold a candle, right? He finally got a hold of her double-ended lightsaber, snaps it in half, and then tosses her the one side. All right, now let's go. Let's do some more.
And he still never pulled his lightsaber.
Yeah, didn't pull his lightsaber at all. Didn't really use a whole lot of Force tricks either. It was just him a lot of him moving out of the way. It
was him moving out of the way, or him using the Force to stop her blade and redirect it, and then push her backwards.
So, but then we do see that, and it was the thing that a lot of people were freaking out about, the fact that the Grand Inquisitor.
Well, he then stabs her.
He does stab her, and she's down on the ground.
Yeah.
And then we see the Grand Inquisitor come back.
Yeah.
And it's revealed he's like, "Hey, youngling, I knew it was you all along.
Yeah.
This was my plan.
Revenge is a great thing for survival.
Yeah.
Or for keeping one alive or something like that.
Yeah. And so then they pretty much just leave her there.
Yeah, goodbye, Grand Inquisitor, as he then claims the badge back and puts it back on his.
And they just leave her there in the dirt, like where they said, "We leave you where we found you."
Yeah.
I'm like, oof, ouch. So, but then we see her notice the bauble.
Yeah, but she also grabs her lightsaber, which is miraculously back together at this point.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was just the one half.
No, it's both halves. That's the thing. So Vader winds up with both halves of the lightsaber.
Oh, okay, yeah.
At the end.
He did, didn't he?
And then he stabs her, and then just it looks like he just drops him. But obviously he took the time to put them back together and then put it down.
Yeah, obviously, apparently that's a thing,
So yeah. But yeah, it's fully back together when she grabs it. Got the full half hilt or the half moon. So yeah, then she finds the the thing in the dirt. So you know she's not going to die.
Nah, she'll be back at some, she's strong in the Force. She's going to get herself up and get some kind of treatment or medical treatment or something. I'm going to be surprised if it's cybernetic, like almost all dark, wielders of the dark side end up using at some point. And I think we're going to see her again. We're going to see her in the final episode at some point.
Yep, I think so too. She'll come back and try and take out Vader, and she's going to wind up dying. She may sacrifice herself to save Obi-Wan or Luke or Leia or somebody. Because that's the other thing. At the end, they show Luke laying in bed.
Yes, exactly. So now we do know that Vader is, and where they're all heading back to Tatooine.
Well, we don't know that yet. We don't know that Vader's going there.
Well, someone's going there. We'll see. I'm
Van Damme cyborg body.
God. Yes. But man, I tell you, I'm so much enjoying all of this shit, dude. I really am.
I'm still kind of torn on this one. I like parts of it, but there's other parts that I think are still just, they're an issue.
Yeah. I mean, I feel you. I know how you feel. I know, like, you as a big Star Wars fan are having issues and with it. And but I still think overall it's such a solid show, and I think it's just, I think this is going to go down as one of the better shows, the better Star Wars shows, I think, overall.
Now, something Renee and I were talking about, and I hope this is still quite a ways away, but the day that we lose James Earl Jones, there can never, ever be another movie, show, or anything with Darth Vader in it.
You think so?
They cannot replace him. He has always been the voice of Darth Vader. He is the voice of Darth Vader. There could be only one. There is no other that can.
I think we need to. I feel that we need to. We need to move on from the Skywalker side.
I think so too, and that's what Taika Waititi wants to do.
Right. I think it's time. So. And I think we will. I think finally they're starting to see there are other stories to tell in the Star Wars universe that we can get to. So I tell you what, why don't we close out the show? We'll list the next 10 TV shows on this list.
Okay, let's do that real quick.
We'll get because we were at 50, and we'll just do the next 10 real quick because it is getting late. We wanted to keep it.
Yeah, we're at about an hour and a half now. So
right, but I know we started a little late tonight, so we'll go for a few more minutes. I said, so we left off at number 50, which was Firefly, easily one of our favorite shows. Really fantastic. We've discussed it many times about one of the great tragedies of television. Number 49 is Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or It's Always Sunny.
So that show has come up as one that is always on the you should watch this list. You'll like this list, and I have never been able to get into it. It is a show about a bunch of just
assholes. Yeah. Now,
and that's what I didn't like about Seinfeld.
Right. Almost every time I've watched this show, I have laughed. I have been entertained by it, and it is on my Hulu watch list to eventually watch it because it is funny. But it's like so
CD said that they're so demented and drunk, it's awesome.
Right. But there's been these moments on this show that's also extremely heartfelt and extremely poignant, and it's just like, wow, did not expect that on this show. I remember Stella showing me a video clip of one of the characters doing in a dance number. What? Cheers on meth? Yeah. That's appropriate.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I saw it.
It's not far off. But it's one of those things where like Stella showed me this video clip of this one of the characters doing a dance number. He was performing, I guess, at a prison for kind of bringing entertainment to these prisoners. And Danny DeVito is there too, and he's seeing it. And the whole act is this dance, this very dramatic dance that is kind of his way of coming out to his father, or coming out to DeVito's character. And I'm just like, I was like, wow, okay, I did not expect that. And it brings DeVito's character to tears, and he's like, I get it. And I was like, wow, I didn't expect that on Always Sunny. This show is a complete fucking like dumpster fire and of comedy. And yet they're able to have those heartfelt moments. And like I talked about how Schitt's Creek is this comedy, but has these amazingly deep moments of character development and emotion and emotive content. And I think Always Sunny has that, not to the same extent and not the same level, but I mean, it's on this list of 100 best shows. So, I mean, it's got to have some redeeming qualities. All right, to move on, we got number 48, Monty Python's Flying Circus from 69 to 74. Now, almost any, lover of comedy, any fan of comedy has got to appreciate Monty Python, whether you watched the old show, whether you enjoyed the movies. They were groundbreaking in their sketch comedy.
And I'm okay.
Well, that's just an excellent example right there. Just the farce and the ridiculousness and the almost the perfect example of British humor that is Monty Python. I mean, the Monty Python movies are up there as some of the funniest fucking movies you'll ever see, up there with Mel Brooks movies. And well, I mean, just
you have to like British comedy though.
You do. You have to appreciate British comedy.
Yes.
You don't necessarily have to always like it. You have to be able to appreciate it because it is very different. It is, I mean, but they do. I mean, it's irreverent and it's a little sexy at times. And
what's the weight of it? East German swallow.
It's
East African swallow.
East African swallow.
Yeah.
Loaded or unloaded. But yeah, just incredible fucking films.
Coconut.
I mean, where do they get coconuts from? We're in the British Isles. Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail. I mean, you can't work at a Renaissance festival without having that movie referenced multiple times on the daily.
Yep.
So anyway, Monty Python, you guys, if you can get a chance to catch that, I mean, it's some of the greatest things the BBC ever put on television. Number 47, we have The Prisoner, which only ran from 67 to 68, the seminal 60s thriller about an ex-spy imprisoned in a strange village where people who know too much are taken after they retire, is a masterclass in the peculiar. More than 20 years before Twin Peaks, The Prisoner made being weird mainstream with deadly sentient balloons about as normal as things got for Patrick McGugan's implacable straight man. Number 6. Anyone expecting definitive answers may have been disappointed, but it remains a classic. I've never seen this, but
I've never seen that. The premise sounds interesting.
Right. I've always heard that The Prisoner was one of those shows that if you enjoy sci-fi, particularly of that bent from that era, you'll really get into it. Yeah. So number 46, we have Girls, which ran from 12 to 17. 2 years out from university, Hannah is cut off by her parents and must make her way through both her 20s and New York. Girls is part Friends for the 21st century and part semi-autographical account of star and creator Lena Dunham's early 20s. Sharply written and gleefully filthy, it's packed with characters you may not always like, but will very likely recognize, and you won't be able to stop watching. I've heard good things about the show, but I've also heard things about how Lena Dunham's a bit kind of a trash individual, so I don't know. It's not really interesting to me, but I've heard it's a pretty cool show. Number 45, we have 6 Feet Under. From 01, it ran on HBO from 01 to 05. Debuting when it did, 6 Feet Under was part of the first wave of heavily authored, critically love-bombed cable shows. Like The Sopranos, 6 Feet Under is about family, in this case the Fishers, Nate, David, Claire, and Mother Ruth, and their day-to-day running of a funeral home in LA. Is very much a series about death, and its last episode, jumped forward in time to show the final moments of all its leads, stands as one of the great TV finales. It's a really
I've never seen that one.
No, 6 Feet Under was fucking cool.
I remember when it was on, but I never actually watched it. It wasn't one that I'm like, maybe I'll check it out sometime, and I never got to it.
Yeah, if you get around to it, it's a pretty cool show. The one of the actors that played the older brother is on 911 now, and of course the younger brother was the lead character on Dexter, and some really cool, God, really awesome storytelling on that show. Number 44 is I'm Alan Partridge, another British show ran from 97 to 02 with Steve Coogan. Steve Coogan's disaster of a TV presenter losing his chat show and ends up living in a sordid little grief hole. Sorry, it's a travel tavern, while hosting a graveyard slot on Radio Norwich. I've never seen the Alan Partridge stuff, but I've heard it's again classic British comedy and some really kind of funny shit. Number 43, from 75 to 79, we have Fawlty Towers, and this was John Cleese's kind of thing that he did after Monty Python.
Yeah, and I say another British
shows, right? While most of the Fawlty Towers 70s sitcom peers now seem achingly slow, there's an urgency to ex-Python John Cleese and Connie Booth series that seems to keep it from appearing dated. Only 12 episodes, each one written over a 6-week period, were made, all beautifully constructed mini farces as meticulously detailed as any Ocean's 11 movie or a Stephen Moffat script. So it was a very interesting show, a comedy that just was like, huh. All right, it was weird, but fucking cool. And like I said, it ran from 75 to 79. So over 4 years, they made 12 episodes. And it was just something that just every few weeks they'd
well, that's the kind of weird thing about some of the British shows, like the British version of Sherlock. Each season is only like 3 episodes, and they're an hour and a half each. It's basically like 3 movies.
Yeah, for sure. You mean the one with Cumberbatch?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Like, I haven't seen it. It's on my list, and it's been on my list, and it's just I gotta have. Dude, I haven't watched the last episode of Stranger Things yet, episode 7.
Yeah.
Because it's an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I'm like, it's a fucking movie.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I gotta get caught up on that show. It's ridiculous. I'm feeling terrible.
This last season's been fantastic, even though the kids are like twice as old as they should be.
Yeah. All right, we got a couple left here. We got number 42, ran from 94 to 04, considered by many to be a seminal example of the medium. We have Friends.
What is it?
Ross, Friends.
Oh, Friends.
Ross, Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, Joey, and Chandler, names that during the 90s everybody knew. Friends influenced haircuts, coffee shop culture, and the English language, bringing "how you doing" into the lexicon. Not bad for a show that often looked like a standard sitcom fodder, but don't underestimate this show. It's fearsomely well written, a nonstop barrage of joke after joke after joke. It's dated a little since, but the fact remains it's a damn funny show. Now, that is very true. Actually, if you do watch Friends now, and you look at it and you go, wow, it is pretty dated.
Yeah, Renee and I are actually watching it now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in, I think, season 7, so it's getting near the end. But yes, it's very dated. And
it was one of those times
we both make that comment all the time.
It was one of those shows that, and I'm not saying dated just because you're like, oh, they finally get cell phones and this and the other thing. It's the fact that some of the comedy is punching down very much.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of homophobia and
a lot of making fun of Monica when she was fat. That was a big joke. Making fun of Chandler and his name and him being kind of not a very manly man.
Well, and then his mother's a romance novelist, and his dad is in a drag show in Vegas.
And I think his dad actually was trans. Like, I think his father actually transitioned, but I'm not certain. And Kathleen Turner played his father.
Yeah.
So it was one of those
Morgan Fairchild was his mother.
Was his mother, right. So we did see stuff like that, but we also saw a great deal of growth. That's another one of those shows that after 10 years, we saw these characters grow a great deal. Honestly, if you watch the reunion show that was on HBO Max.
I have not. I want to see that. But I've kind of been waiting to watch the rest of the seasons because I did not watch. I'm actually in a section of Friends that I didn't watch. I stopped watching right about the time when Monica and Chandler got engaged.
Yeah, I stopped watching, I think, around season 8. And I was just kind of like, I got other things to watch, And it was Stella just sent me a text. I think his dad was a drag queen. They always called him he, not sure. So who knows? But Costella's a huge fan of Friends. It's one of those shows she falls asleep to sometimes. So the show
For me, that's Big Bang.
Yeah, right on. And she's actually just started rewatching that as well. Friends was, like I said, it was a show that very much encapsulated its era. It was very much a show that defined Generation X. It was one of the best examples of a bunch of Generation Xers. Now,
Charles Bing, professionally known as Helena Handbasket.
Yeah, Helena Handbasket. Mm-hmm.
Is the biological father of Chandler Bing, portrayed by Kathleen Turner. After coming out as gay, Charles divorced Chandler's mother, Nora Tyler Bing, and works as a drag artist in Las Vegas.
Okay, so a drag artist, which is different. But yeah, it is. I mean, poor Chandler, that guy just went through so much shit. But yeah, so it was like I said, it was the seminal kind of example of that kind of storytelling, that kind of comedy of that era. And again, showed like an excellent example of what a lot of Generation Xers were. Because when that show started in 1994, I was 20 years old. I would have been on the younger side of that group, because they were all 20 somethings. They were all like 25 to 28, I think, something like that, maybe 30. I think Ross was the oldest at like maybe 30 years old.
Ross and Chandler were the same age.
Right. You're right, because they went to college together.
Right. And
Monica was minimum 2 years younger than him.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years. A year, maybe it was only a year.
Well, Ross was old enough to be a doctor, which means he went through 4 years of school.
Yeah.
But pre-med.
Well, they were all mid-20s. He was later 20s. Him and Chandler were later 20s, and everyone else was like mid-20s when they started. So there was a big deal about all of them turning 30.
That's right. You're right. And but I don't think any of them had hit 40. So, but like I said, they were Generation Xers, And so the show has come under fire for maybe not aging as great as it could have, but it was still funny. There's some funny shit in it, So we're going to finish these up. We got number 41 is the show Spaced, that ran from 99 to 01. There's a lot of British shows on this list.
That's a Simon Pegg show, isn't it?
Yep, Simon Pegg. The fact that no matter how many successful times he goes on to star, so many films he goes on to star in, Simon Pegg will forever be asked, will you do a third series of Spaced? Because it only ran for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And is testament to the enduring appeal of his and co-star Jessica Hines' pop culture drenched sitcom. Directed with whiz-bang vivacity by then bright young thing Edgar Wright, and with a gallery of relishable eccentrics from Tires and the E-Head bike messenger to nervy avant-garde artist Brian is still the jewel in Peg's geek crown. I think I've seen 1 or 2 episodes of some of the early episodes.
Looks like it's available on Prime.
Yeah, it didn't grab me right away, but I've always meant to go back to catch it.
I haven't watched Spaced. Or wait, no, I take that back. I did start watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Stella said, to correct us, Ross was never pre-med. He was a doctor of paleontology. So probably.
I knew that.
Degree. Yeah, we knew that. We knew he was.
He's a PhD. He's not a medical doctor. He's
right. The difference, because there's a difference between a PhD and an MD. He wasn't an MD, but he was a PhD. So I think I saw a clip about it, I think on Instagram or something recently about that. So last but surely not least, number 40, before we close out the show tonight, we have Community. That ran from 09 to 15, jumped
which
around.
I started watching and stopped.
Personally, I feel now the show is interesting because it definitely has its ups and downs, and how depending on whether Dan Harmon was involved or not, because he did leave the show and then come back to the show. it left the network for a while, and then its last season it was on Yahoo. But personally, I feel it was one of the best sitcoms in a long time. I remember a friend of mine one time talking to me that he didn't like Big Bang Theory because he felt like the comedy punched down. He felt like that the audience was making fun. The writers were basically using geek culture as a way to make fun of the characters, that they were never that, at the very least, near the beginning, that Sheldon and Leonard were used as like, look at the funny nerds and all the funny nerdy things they do. Whereas Community, you've got these nerdy guys and these weird guys that they don't really punch down. They're just funny.
And see, I didn't see that with Big Bang. I know that you've said that before, but I never really got that with Big Bang. I saw them as they were living who they were, and it was the other people that looked like assholes that were making fun of them. Like, especially like Kurt, the one ex-boyfriend of Penny's.
Yeah.
Like the Halloween episode where, Leonard was dressed as the Hobbit and Penny kissed him, and Kurt comes down the stairs and looks at him. He's like, "Yeah, you saw what you saw. That's how we roll in the Shire," and slams the door shut.
I mean, that's the thing. By the time that the show ended, I mean, the characters, they'd grown into themselves. They'd become much more successful. They've had successful relationships and things like that. So we did see growth in those characters, but I got to admit, there was times when I watched that show and I was like, they're using the love of gaming and their love of Star Trek as a comedic thing, and as a comedic kind of tool, and I just like, I don't know how much I like that. It's not that it didn't feel like they were, now, like I said, laughing with us.
One of my biggest problems with that show was their portrayal of how Dungeons and Dragons works.
Yes, that too.
Like the fact that the DM was rolling everything.
Yeah. I mean, that bothered me. I mean, they brought in scientific advisors to advise them on the science that they were going through, on the physics and all
the Wheaton!
honestly, Will Wheaton on this show is one of my favorite parts of it. But the fact that they brought in all these advisors for the nerdy, for the science, but they didn't bring in advisors for the nerdy shit.
Yeah.
For things like D&D, for things like, because most of the guys on that show weren't like the nerds like we are. No. They were playing nerds, sure, but they weren't that level of geek. So they were it wasn't the same, it's like you'd think that they would have brought somebody on to kind of go, okay, well, Whedon himself could have gone on and said, all right, this isn't quite how you play D&D, but let's tweak this a little bit so it's a little more realistic. Now I get it, for the gag, for the bit is fine. But at the same time, as a nerd and as a gamer, I was kind of like, it did bother me. The same thing with like their card game that they played. The
Wizards of Ka'ar. I was just going to bring that up.
Kahak or something like that, which was supposed to be basically a takeoff of Magic the Gathering.
I'm amazed they never actually came out with Wizards of Ka'ar as an actual game.
It would have been pretty hilarious if they had.
Ka'a. That's what it was.
Ka'a. It was Ka'a. And it was just one of those things that
Mystic Warlords of Ka'a.
That was it. And you'd see them throwing their cards down into the pile. It's like,
and they're just like,
we'll play this card. Yeah. Okay, well, how are you going to get your cards back? Because they all had their own sets of their decks. It's like, wait,
no, I think it was a shared deck. That's the thing. It was just a deck of cards, and you got so many, and then you were playing what you had.
Maybe, but that's the thing, though, that they all bought the decks, though. They all bought the cards separately. It wasn't like just one guy had it, because I remember them going into the comic shop and Stuart basically scamming them into buying, all of them buying it, sets of the new expansion.
Oh, maybe.
So anyway, well, Community is definitely this awesome, it's a really great show. Some seasons are better than others. When Chevy Chase left the show, I think the show definitely improved because I mean, he was funny on the show, but from what I understand, he was also toxic on the show.
I was one
Donald
of those guys
Glover
that I
also
like
left the
Chevy
show.
Chase in certain things, but a lot of things I just don't like him in.
Yeah. And like I said, on this show, from what I understand, his character was very funny, but I guess as an actor, he was kind of an asshole. So I don't know. But it is getting late. We should wrap things up. We got 40 more shows to go through. At some point, we'll do another 10 or 20, and another time we've got.
I said we wanted to keep it under 2 hours, and we're getting close. So
we're getting real close. So because you and I, we really definitely know how to run off.
The Midwest goodbye.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. Guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Be sure to join us this Friday night for Tavern Nights. We're going to be at 7:30. Once again, I'll be running a little late, but I should be there hopefully by the midpoint. And so for some rousing round of Dungeons and Dragons, guys, be sure to check us out. We're here every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock here on Drinking Nerds. You can download and stream us here. You can download all of our shows at all the places you can find quality podcasting. Guys, we are on the Google Play Store. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, the Odyssey app, all these other things. Pretty much everything that you can find, everywhere you can find us. Find podcasts. Just type in Drinking Nerds or Nerds with Alcohol. You should be able to find us.
You can also go to our website, Nerds with Alcohol Show, or drinkingnerds.com.
You know what? You're right. I haven't mentioned the website in a while, guys. We are also at www.nerdswithalcoholshow.com.
Yeah, or drinkingnerds.com will get you to the same place. When we have access to all of our latest episodes down there, down at the bottom, we got like 6 episodes. It goes to our Twitch page, all that stuff. And then you can follow us on most social medias, which are also on the website. There are links to all of those. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show, Twitter at Drinking Nerds, Instagram Drinking Nerds, although we haven't put a lot up there. We got to get back to doing some of that. And Discord, yes. If you are a subscriber, you can join our private Discord server and talk nerdy with us all the time. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
We encourage people to talk and chat. Thank you, CD. Thank you, Wingscoop, for chatting with us tonight. We always appreciate it. You guys are the private group of rando thoughts. That's pretty much what the Discord server is. Yes,
that pretty much is.
But yes, so that's about it. We'll be back on Friday, 7:30 Eastern time, right here on Twitch.
Same bad time. Same bad channel.
Yep.
All right.
And I think that's gonna about do it.
That should do it.
So on that note.
Until next time. Sláinte.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
It was all right. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.